Good day. My name is Angel Mipin Mayola, a second-year civil engineering student major in structural. Today, I'll be presenting one of the most tragic yet important cases in Philippine civil engineering, the Sai building collapse on 2004. This isn't just a story of structural failure. It's a case study on the consequences of ethical neglect in our profession. Now, let's proceed to the ethical deliberation on the Sai Building 2004 and civil engineering perspective on ethical analysis. Introduction to ethical responsibilities. First, engineers' moral responsibilities. Engineers hold a moral responsibilities to ensure public safety through responsible design. Second, we have ethical dilemma. In this presentation, we'll explore the ethical dilemma of prioritizing safety versus meeting client demands. And lastly, the purpose. To apply ethical principle to a real engineering failure and identify moral sound decision making. Now let's take a look of Sai building collapse overview. The 8-story commercial building located in Divisoria, Manila, Philippines was originally designed for residential use, but was repurposed into commercial structures without a proper structural redesign. And on July 23, 2004, the Sai building suffered a partial collapse, exposing deep flaws in engineering oversight. While no lives were lost, the incident could have been far worse. Now, let's gather the key facts of the Sai building collapse. The assigned structural engineer of the Sai building was Engineer Harry Wong. The foundation was designed based on assumptions and not data. Worse, the change in building function wasn't matched with appropriate engineering recalculation. The lack of geotechnical testing and disregards for NSCP standard points to a systematic failure in both practice and ethics. The stakeholders. First, Engineer Harry Wong, the responsible for structural design. Second, the building owner, the contractor, the local government or inspector, the tenants and occupants, and general public. Engineering decisions don't happen in a vacuum. This collapse impacted a wide range of stakeholders, from the engineer and contractors to ordinary tenants and city officials. Ethical engineering requires us to consider the broader ripple effects of our work. Next, they articulate the dilemma. So the core question here, should Engineer Wong prioritize safety or client's demands? The conflict uphold professional responsibility to protect lives or cave into pressures for fast, low-cost solutions. This is where ethics enters the picture. Engineer Wong faced a situation where doing the right thing could mean losing the project or even his job. But ethics isn't about convenience. It's about doing what's right even when it's difficult. These are the least considered alternatives. First is to proceed with flawed design. Second, redesign foundation to meet standard. Third on the list is to refuse to approve until it's safe. Fourth, report unsafe conditions. And lastly, stay silent and continue. When we look at the options he had, some of them like reporting or redesigning show strong ethical leadership. Others like staying silent or proceed with flawed design might save face temporarily but delay the long-term consequences. Now, let's compare the alternatives with the principle. In this table, we can see the alternatives under ethical impact. First is to proceed with flawed design. It violates safety, integrity, and standard. Second, redesign foundation. It upholds safety, competence, and integrity. Third on the list, refuse approval, show courage and public protection. Fourth, report unsafe practice. It promotes accountability and responsibility. fifth is to remain silent. It fails responsibility and risks safety. Let's weigh the consequences of those alternatives that we have. First is to proceed with design. The consequences are structural failure, loss of trust, and legal accountability. Next, redesign foundation. It delays and cost, but ensures long-term safety. Third on the list, refuse approval. The possible job risk, but maintains ethic. Fourth, report and safe practice. It risks of backlash, but protects public interest. And lastly, remain silent. High risk of disaster, ethical and professional failure. So in this table, each option has trade-offs, but we must weigh short-term difficulty against long-term impact. True professionalism means choosing the path that protects human lives, even if it's the harder road. And now, we finally arrive to the final ethical decision. The right choice here is to refuse approval. Why? Because it upholds safety and ethical duty. It avoids legal and moral consequences and aligns with NSCP and engineering codes. Even though it's difficult, it's the only option that fulfills our duty as engineers. Because ethics isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary to prevent tragedy and protect public trust. Throughout this whole case analysis, I've learned that through this case, it reminds me that every engineering decisions can affect lives. So, as a civil engineering student and future engineer, we must never allow cost or convenience to outweigh safety, because our job is not just to build, but to protect. Before I end, I want to leave you with this quote. Engineering is not just about building structures, it's about protecting lives. As future engineers, we'll be responsible for thousands of lives with every project we approve. So let's never forget that our decisions must be grounded in ethics, not just efficiency. Thank you and God bless you all.